he said he's gonna leave it to us young folks. That's what happens when old people meet technology, I guess.
Every time he calls you up, it's about, hey, can you help me with Zoom?
I can't figure out this new technology that you got going on
Yep.
here.
I mean, to be fair, you're running a whole coding academy, and
Yeah,
Sorry about that. Here we go.
you got your drink, Jarrett?
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to have one, man. All right, okay.
Go grab one. Make one real quick.
Yeah, hold on. All right.
I cheated the system. I actually stopped drinking so heavy. I think I went out drinking with my investor, got super slammed, and I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work for me. So I stopped drinking for the last 2 weeks. So I'm
really?
again with the IPA game.
IPA game, huh? What brand?
Sierra Nevada, Hazel thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, did you get a how was drinking with an investor? Did it turn out well? Or
Oh, I talked to you beforehand, man. So when spoke with this one guy that sold like his business, and like like the building where we were right across the street from is still there, but yeah, like it went well. Then we went back to the casino. Like I took the money, they gave me some money. I never gambled my own money. They gave me some money. I won some money. They were buying all the drinks, and I couldn't say no. And then somehow, some way, I made it home. But the next day, I had like 6 meetings, and one of them I had to tell old dude like, "Look, man, I'm hungover. I ain't gonna be able to like be 100%. Like I'm very talkative, but I'm trying to keep down with the contents in my body, so I'm not going up on people." Worst decision. I learned a lesson is that I'm getting older and I can't handle my alcohol the way I used to.
Hey, facts. That's a true statement.
how do you feel about your cousin doing all this, Jarrett?
Oh man, I think it's pretty cool, man. He and I had a opportunity to kind of chat it up a little bit when we went back home to our grandfather's funeral. So just kind of reconnecting, man, and seeing the awesome things that he's doing. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, being from the South, being from Mississippi, man, it's not a lot of opportunities, and then I would probably say not a lot of people put forth the effort at times, But to see him doing things, man, it's pretty cool. There's a plethora of things that people can kind of get into and venture off into, man. So to see him doing things and stepping outside of his comfort zone, I think it's pretty cool.
And I'm really curious too, because I mean, both of you guys are doing really ambitious things, and I love to dive deep into it too. But growing up, like, who are y'all's role model? Like, what is it that made you guys? I mean, both of you guys are doing something different, but in terms of like your tenacity and your work ethic and trying to make something bigger than yourselves, I mean, you're both doing that.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll start. I guess for me, man, most definitely probably I say my parents. My mom, man, she was always pushing us. I'm the middle child. She was always pushing us. My father as well was always pushing us, stay in school. That was kind of like his thing, just really stay in school, hit the books hard, things of that nature. And I would also say myself, being in, in an environment that you see people doing the same things now later on in life, I knew I didn't want to be a product of that particular environment, right? Doing the same thing over and over, So again, stepping out, in that comfort zone. So I've been in the military for 15 years now, and I've seen a lot of things. Got a chance to interact with a lot of people. Again, just stepping outside of that comfort zone, But I would most definitely say, my parents was probably good role models for me, and just stand on me each and every day.
Yeah, mine's different. I have like a page, but it kind of staggers, right? Like I grew up, my mom, she always worked to provide for us, me and my 2 brothers. The hard work that would come from her. But one thing I always appreciated to this day is Jarrett's mom and then my other aunt, Medora, because we spent a lot of time with them growing up. And it's mostly because, like, working down south, like working people, you can't just trust anyone with your kids. So we spent tons and tons of time with them. And to this day, I call them more than I call my parents, just to, just to check in. I just love some of the things that they feel like, that positive, hey, you smart, you can do whatever, you should do this, or, just going across the line, my first cell phone came from into the door, right? Like, my mom did buy it, my aunt bought it. And then, when I was, when we were out here, about 17, I saw Jarrett was already in the military. I was like, I want to do something cool. And so once again, it staggers because then I joined the military because he was doing it. Like, I didn't have people around me doing it. I had this one guy that was like me when I was younger, but seeing him, someone close to me, I'm like, oh, I could go to the military too. My whole life I grew up hearing the military, or at least the Army is no place for black men. But I'm like, here's black.
Yeah. It's like, I know someone who I'm close with, someone who's a human.
And then I have a mentor up in Minnesota, and like he's kept me grounded with all my community work. Right, he still mentors. So I have like a ton of people that can say added benefit to who I am. It's not like I woke up like this is gonna be Mario, but different parts of my life kind of play different factors. So I have chapters that help create this book, and I'm still creating it because those same people are still in contact and talk to me.
Well, something that you said earlier, Jarrett, and I think yourself too, Mario, which family being your role models. And Jarrett, once you started having kids, and Mario, you too, do you feel like you changed? And were there things about like how your parents raised you that you kind of took with, or that you learned from, or how was that conversation with your parents once you started, having kids and learning how to raise through them?
Okay, so for me, I have an older brother, younger sister, and I was the first to have a child first. So, of course, first grandkid, things of that nature. So us growing up, and Mario can attest to this, right? So our grandmother, she kept a clean house. You know what I mean? Like, we couldn't touch this, we couldn't touch that. But then when the grandkids, the grandkids come, great grandkids come, like it's like all that went out the window,
Like, hey, where were you when you were raising me? It's like, come on.
Right. Oh, they can do this. Oh, they can do that. So it's kind of funny to see the dynamics kind of shift and change, man.
Really?
Obviously, as they get a little bit older and things of that nature. My mom, she's the same way too. A lot of the stuff that I did or couldn't do, my son can get away with it. The grandkids can get away with murder, man. But I guess that's just the nature of the beast. I've been told by other grandparents that's just kind of how it is. I'm pretty sure I'll probably be the same way when my son had kids. Things that I kind of say.
Your parents had to be like the bad cop while they're raising you, and they're like, finally, I don't have to see this person.
Right. Yeah, man. So it was very much in the beginning probably challenging, because you as a parent, especially being as a young parent, you think you kind of have it figured out, and you're like, oh, I read this book, or I got some information from this person, And I think for me in the beginning it was a little bit difficult because as a man, right? Like, I wanted to do things a certain way, but sometimes I had to kind of step back and just kind of embrace some of the knowledge, the wisdom that, my parents had in raising kids and things of that nature, and just kind of take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, and then apply it to how I parent as well. So, there's always room for growth, I would say, most definitely. And just take some of the advice, take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, put it in your toolbox, take what you need. If you don't need it, if it doesn't apply to you, keep it moving. But the individuals that, have come before you, obviously have the experience, the knowledge, so I would say take a little bit of that, take a little bit of that.
And so at what point did you start the Black Father experience? And can you talk to me a little bit about it? I mean, I saw your site, looks great. Love the shirts.
Go ahead, JJ. Yeah, so man, story behind the Black Father experience, man. So I actually thought about this in December of 2019. That's when it came to me. So I was sitting at home, I'm a homebody, man. I'm a Capricorn by nature, right? So I kind of just chill out. So I was at home, And I was, having my adult beverage or whatnot, and I was watching, some music videos, and this voice came to me, man, and it was like the Black Father experience, and it was like there's more to life than sitting on the couch and just drinking beer, right? And I was like, what is going on right now? And so I went upstairs and I started doodling, started drawing some stuff out, man, and something like this kind of came out, you know. And so I took that and I met a young lady through a mutual friend. She also had a business as well, right? And she was kind of just poking, like, hey, you really need to, put this into play. And so I took that entire year to just kind of, gather some information about how to start a business. A lot of stuff that out there on YouTube. Obviously, you can find a lot of stuff. Just how to start my LLC. The business aspect of it. I did a lot of things as far as trying to find different packages. What type of packages I wanted to present to the. Hold on, excuse me 1 second. Can you get him for a second, please?
No worries, man.
Yeah. So real time right here. You know what I mean? I got the kiddos and stuff. But anyway, man, yeah. So doing a lot of just with the shirts, different type of shirts I wanted to do, different type of prints I wanted to do, and just just trying to put that into action. So I took that entire year to do that, and I dropped January 18th of 21 on my birthday, and it's been going pretty good so far, man. Biggest thing is I'm just trying to put the message out there. I told everybody, if I sell one shirt, what I'm saying, that's good for me.
But
my goal.
Out of all the businesses you could have started with your discipline, from the military and your work ethic, why is it the Black Father experience something that you wanted to do and continue to persist to make this happen?
Yeah, most definitely, man. So like I always tell people, this is the showcase of positive light. There's a lot of awesome fathers out there. Most definitely, there's a lot of awesome fathers out there on my timeline. But more so, I wanted to showcase the positive light on those individuals, that look like me. I'm not here to say that we're better fathers or father figures. I'm just saying that I want to showcase that positive light. Give those individuals the roses, while they're here. And it's not just about fathers. It's also about the coaches, the leaders, the mentors, things of that nature. So when we talk about the Black Father experience, what is your Black Father experience? And I'd say it's to showcase for everybody. For example, maybe you don't look like me, right? But maybe you went to school, you had a coach, you had a mentor that does look like me. They gave you some type of nuggets, some type of jewels. So that's your Black Father experience. So again, it's just a showcase, man, the positive light, on the things that fathers and father figures do. For those individuals, that look like me, giving them their roses, while they're still here. And so, like I always tell people, man, like I'm not a clothing line. I'm more so just showcasing the brand, showcasing the movement. I feel like this is probably my calling, I guess, if you want to say. I'm a true believer that we're all put here for a certain reason. And anybody that looks on my page, man, you can see. Even when my son was born, like just the pride and the passion I had. Like I enjoy being a father. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that makes me happy. So that's kind of like in a nutshell the gist of the Black Father experience, why I think it's important. And again, just to showcase the positive light.
So I wear this hoodie out a whole lot, right? Like I just go out. Because the one reason, and I don't like the red because I'm a little too light. Like let's Jerry, he gets that MTI tan going on. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets more sunlight. But me, red just don't flow. The green does. But I go out and people are like, oh, that's super dope. What is that? I'm like, yo, it's a lion. I'm a Leo. What you think it is?
Yeah.
And like I tell them, it's like what's the Black Father experience? I'm like, what do you think the Black Father experience is? Because in today's world, ever since actually I'm 29, I can say since I've been alive, the stigma on Black fathers, right, is they're not there, they're in jail, everything else. So it's always a negative impact. So once again, going back to what Jarrett said, he loves being a father. Just like I love being a father. One of the biggest things for me when I had my son is one thing I said is I want to be there. Like I have to work, but I will put off work to be there for my kids, because that's one thing that like people, they tend to classify the working parent. So working Black dads, they have to work to provide because it's in our nature. But because of that, that also can classify them as an absent father with the state or whoever want to penalize or judge them. So once again, spreading the movement of we are Black fathers, or someone out there cares. I mean, me and my dad were cool, but I stayed with my mom. So I had to go and find and create that Black father experience. My mentor, Tim, he's been my mentor for the last 14 years. So since I was in high school, he has a huge impact on my life. And that's my Black father experience is when I decide I want to get married, I hit up Tim because he, that's that go-to. Not everybody has a dad, but once again, like Jarrett said, you don't have to be Black. Like that experience can happen anywhere. I mean, I have my best friend, Matt, he's white and he has mentors, and that's a father experience. His mentor just so happens to be Black, but still, he need to have an experience because he didn't have that kind of relationship with his dad either. So the movement is a real thing, and I believe everyone can associate with it because no matter what color you are, we all have experiences with other individuals, and that's where the word that's where the mentors come in at. Most people go to their mentors before they go to their own dad.
I think that's really interesting because like part of you guys is that there's this like additional like pressure that not only because as a dad you're supposed to make money for a whole family, but you also need to make sure that you're there for your kids, and you don't have all the time in the world to be in both places at once as much as you like to. And so how do you share that you're there for your kids at the same time that your duty as a father is to provide for the family? And so how do you balance both?
That's a good question, man. So I'll most definitely say, so my motto is most definitely just being hashtag being present. So my situation, right? I'm divorced, and my son. So I was being military. So I PCS'd here to Texas back in 2016. We spent a year and a half away from each other. He was in Colorado. I was in Texas. So although that was significant, and it hurt. Like, I mean, I drove to Texas on Father's Day. I dropped my son off in Mississippi with my parents, and I'm driving to Texas, man, and I just started freaking balling, bro. Like, I had to pull over a few times and just get myself together, because that was the first time that we had actually like been apart, or was going to be apart. But for that whole year and a half, man, I just kind of kept myself focused, so I wouldn't dive down into that depression. But what did I do? Obviously, since we were apart, FaceTime, technology, right? FaceTime. So just having that consistency of FaceTiming, especially if he's a young age, I think he was maybe 5 or 6 at the time, so, kids at that age, very impressionable, around, with people who they're around and things of that nature. So I felt like as a man, it was my job to make sure that I stayed consistent through FaceTime. Obviously, the holidays, we rotate, Christmas, Turkey Day, things of that nature. So going out my way, pick him up, things of that nature. And that's what I try to tell a lot of, fathers that are not there physically, because I had to deal with that for a long time, just trying to understand how can I cope with not being there physically, but just mentally, just telling myself, I can still be present because we have, things such as, FaceTime. And it worked out, And then, luckily they ended up PCSing back to San Antonio. So it was only a year and a half, but it was a long year and a half that I was away from him. I mean, but to answer your question, most definitely just being present. I think just as fathers, we have to find that balance, that balance. And my balance was, the FaceTime piece, showing up to pick him up on those holidays, just being consistent, being present.
Yeah. I'm obligated. Like, I don't have a choice. I'm like, this is just instilled in my mind. So like, I love making big deals, especially on special days. Like my son's birthday, I always want to make sure, I believe the more experiences you create with your kids while they're young, they do with that forever. And it's all about this, goes back to what Jarrett said, being present. So I think every experience, whether my son is now into like Minecraft. So I got, he has an Xbox, he has on his Nintendo Switch. I downloaded it on my iPad just so I can do that. And I think it's super cool that I don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to create the experience, but just playing Minecraft. I don't do it all the time because I don't get it. But when I do, he appreciates it, because next thing you know, like in his Minecraft world, I have a house, it has an underground fort, I have a boat, and I was like, oh crap, you built all this for me. So those experiences go a long way compared to, and that's one thing I could say is like going back in time. I remember, just my aunt, she would take us out and she'd do these things. And I remember these small little nuggets from when I was a kid. And then that's how I know, like, if I do this with my kids, they will also remember. Anything happens to me tomorrow, I'm leaving a legacy. I'm leaving, the experiences they have so they can remember me by. Because that's one thing, like Jarrett said earlier, like our granddad passed. And I legit cut some chitlins the other day. I was like, man, I literally just been doing things that I remember him doing. Like I started tinkering more. I started doing this, but those experiences of being able to go back out into his back house and see how cool everything was. Once again, that's an experience from my childhood that I carry with me. So, being present is the most important thing, because as long as you're there, they're gonna remember that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I try not to talk about it a lot, just because I feel like I'm annoying my friends at this point, but I definitely want to bring it up just because people who are close to me knows I'm obsessed with trying to make money off of kids. So particularly your own. And the more that we talk about, hey, spending quality time with your kids, and part of it is like, hey, you're still in a position where you need to provide for your family. I think one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about maybe starting a business where your kids can support you is because you're also spending quality time with them. And so, like, I know, Jarrett, on your site, you have your kids who's pretty much, I guess, your model, and I don't know if you're paying them, but it's just like,
right.
Yeah, you guys are taking pictures, you guys are working on business. Growing up, he's going to see his dad hustle his ass off to kick off his brand. And Mario, I mean, you're creating coding, agency, and you're kind of building those building blocks of, hey, what's great about Minecraft is that they have like all these different like building blocks in which it slowly starts like subtly teaching them like how coding works, or how like little factories, interact with each other. So I just think it's fascinating, and why I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship is that you can bring your kids along for that business as well. Personally, myself, I didn't really grow up with a father figure. My parents are not divorced, but for me, it's like my dad was teaching in a different country. So I think one of the things that I was always afraid of growing up is that, once I become a parent, like I don't really have those examples of what it's like to be a present father. And so would I, continue on this legacy of not being there for them? I don't know. Was that something that you guys ever had to worry about or concern? Like, hey, I don't know how I am going to be a parent. Now I have a child. Like, this is all completely new to me. How can I make sure that I'm there for them?
Yeah, I can. So when my son was born, I worried every day. So like I said, me and my dad have the best relationship. Like, and it's mostly because I think he had me young, and like you said, a lot of Black dads have their kids young and they have to decide. Like, I know times, but my dad, he chose the path he went. So I never had like that great father son. Like, I watched a lot of TV. I'm like, I want to have a relationship with my dad like these people on TV. I never had that. So when my kids are born, I always worried about, am I good? Like, am I a great dad? Because I never had a sense of role models of what that's truly like. And to the point of that, like, people tell me all the time, you're an awesome dad. Like, you put your kids first, everything else. So that's how I know I'm doing something right. I guess.
Yeah, you're playing Minecraft with your child.
Right. Yeah, most definitely.
I shouldn't do it sober. I'm like, oh, you got options for this? But I think just knowing, like, no one's gonna know how. Every kid's gonna be different. Every kid certain things from their parents, and it's up to us as parents to identify that and be able to address those needs. So my son, like, he's gonna jump from sport to sport. He's gonna jump from hobby to hobby. I as a father should not say, I want you to do this. I'm not living my life through him. I should allow him to live his own life and support everything. And I think that's the best way of ensuring that you're being a good parent, is you should support everything your kids wants to do, because when you do that, A, you're listening to them. B, he doesn't know, no matter what, you got their back, do any decision, as long as it's a positive decision that they want to do, but you're allowing them to make mistakes and learn from them. You're not picking them up every single time they fall. And that's one thing we try to do. I think we in this household, we spoil our kids. And, you know, I'm just like, I also always want to do that. But I'm starting to realize you spoil them young, you create bad habits. So now, you know, my oldest is 6. He's already spoiled, so I have to reprogram him. But the other 3, the twins are 2 and the baby's 1, I still got time to ensure that we don't do those things. So it is the learning experience, but I think from when my son was first born to about 3, I worried. Now that he's 6 and I got the other 3, I'm pretty like chill. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the best I can, and they know it, you know. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mario. Most definitely, experiences. You know, experiences is what make us, you know, who we are. Anyway, you know, just throughout life, not only as parents. But I agree. So you know, when I first had my son, I'm naturally a go with the flow type of individual. You know, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how or what type of dad I was going to be. I just knew that I just wanted to be there, be present, you know, do dad things, you know. I think one thing for me also was just making sure that I was there and I was present. But just kind of going with the flow, experiences, you know, certain things that I did when he was younger, how I disciplined him when he was younger is a little bit different now because, you know, A, he's older. And then 2, you know, I've matured as a parent, you know, so he's getting a little bit older now. He'll be 10. So now I'm more so, you know, we have conversations about things, you know, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? You know, and I try to instill in him that, you know, if you don't do ABC, hey, these are the repercussions of, you know, you not doing ABC, so that he can have that better understanding. You know, obviously when we were kind of growing up, you know, we did something bad, you know, it was that belt. You know, they got on you, you know.
You guys got hit as kids?
Hey, look, yes.
So do you get whoopings?
Huh?
Do you spank her? Do you do any of that?
So I've slowly started tapering off, man. Yeah, like I say, in the beginning, it was just an experience. You know, that's what I saw. That's what I knew as a parent. You know, but as he started developing as the type of, you know, young man he is, I started learning that, okay, not all the time that's necessary, you know, or that's probably not the right approach, you know. So like I said, we have talks, you know, about certain things. If it's something that he's probably never encountered before, all right, cool, let's have a talk about this, because maybe he doesn't understand. If I just go in there blazing belts, you know, like, is there any good approach to that? Probably not, you know. But now, granted, we've had this talk, you know, maybe this is his 3rd or 4th time. Okay, now we gotta redirect. So, but I still don't, you know, get the belt. What do? We do some wall sits, you know. So, you know, just like, you know, I have him do some push-ups, some sit-ups, you know, and something that's gonna inflict pain on himself, you know. And I'm like, well, hey, bro, you did this, not me, you know. And we're having a conversation as he's sitting on the wall, and he's thinking about his actions, you know. Oh, dang, I put myself in this situation. I didn't do this, you did this, you know. So that's kind of like my approach now that he's kind of getting older. But yeah, I mean, it's all about just experiences. There's no right or wrong way to be a parent. You just have to figure it out. You know, what I do may not be the right way, may be the best way, you know, whatever Mario does, you know what I mean? So as parents, we just have to figure out what's best for our kids, what's best for our household, you know, and you know, we just go from there, you know. But it's like you said, it's all about experiences, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: coming from, because you're still in the military, and I encountered a lot of military dads, and they always put service, like literally, like the core value, service before self. But I'm all like, yo, you're too hardcore with this. If I was still in, I would never put service before myself, because myself
Jarrett's like shaking his head.
So how did you separate like your day job as an MTI? Because I seen your videos, man. Like I envy it. I was like, man, I hated being at last. Loving it. Like this weirdo. But
What's an MTI?
I'm a military training instructor.
Okay. So are you the guy yelling at the training? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
Like, hey, why the hell did you do this? Hey, push 20. You're on strong as your weakest link.
Right.
Because Jared reminds me of my brother. So the second in line, like super passive. Like you don't like. I wouldn't expect him over here giving people a hand. Like where's your 341 homie? Like right. I couldn't imagine him doing that. But like, how do you separate your day, life to your time with your son? Because one thing you said is like, got him doing the push-ups. And of all things, I know something they did in the military, try to break people down to rebuild.
Yeah, because I was just imagining Jarrett going up to his kids like, hey, you have to give me 20 on your knuckles or I was just like, why the hell did you do this?
Hey, but so with that, what I'm saying, we're promoting, physical health as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just, give me 50 push-ups or 20 push-ups or whatever the case may be. No, there's a purpose behind it. It's a training objective, as they would say, in the military. So I'm not just doing it just to make him do it, or be mean or be spiteful or anything. There's most definitely a purpose behind it, But how do, Mario, to answer your question, how do I separate? Man, I just separate it, man. Like real talk. When they say the service before self, like, no, I don't believe in that, most definitely. And a lot of people will tell you, a lot of people get it confused. That's not, some people do believe that, but a lot of people too don't believe that, So the day-to-day, when I'm at work, I'm zoned in, I'm focused, that's my job, that's what I get paid to do. But at 1700, when it's time to go home, hey, the head comes off, I'm Jarrett Harris. I'm when I got my son on that Friday or the weekend, hey, I'm in dad mode. So I think a lot of people do struggle with that, especially on the active duty side now, man, like with promotions and stuff. So many people are just focused on trying to promote, and there's nothing wrong with that, but at what expense, So if you don't have that good balance to know how to turn work off and also apply things at home too, you will find yourself, either divorced or, your kids probably resenting you and things of that nature. So, like I say, what works for me may not work for everybody else, but for me, to answer your question, man, like I legit turn it off. Like if it's something, like somebody texts me on the weekend, I'm like, hey, just go wait till Monday. If it's not an emergency, all right, cool, I'll get to it Monday. We have this thing called Crew App or WhatsApp, and people are constantly texting on the weekend. No, I hit mute, like when I'm with my son, when I'm with my family, like that's what it is, and you just really have to find that balance, whatever works for you. The weekend is my detox time to just kind of chill out, and not be so serious, because obviously when I'm at work, got to be serious, but you just got to turn it off. And to answer the question, I just turn it off. I literally turn off the apps. I turn off my mindset. I'm in dad mode. This is his time to get his attention.
Would you say it's like fair to say is like you pretty much have two separate personalities that you were turn on and off, and it's like complete separate persona? It's like if I was, if I had different bodies for it, you would not recognize us.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Very bipolar, you could say, right?
Oh, yeah. Facebook. And I was all like, this Jarrett sitting here, are you looking on his website? It's not gonna be the Jarrett you see sitting over here talking, like crying over how his ABUs are phasing out. Like someone like he's so military old, like he's been in for 3 ABU changes. I'm all like,
yeah, his third uniform change, man. Last one though, I got 5.5 years left to my 20.
So, and that's a good segue for my next question. Then is, as you grow this movement, I'm not gonna call it Black Father Experience anymore. I'm gonna call it the movement. Yeah. Like, where do you see yourself growing this? Because I'm projecting like over the next 5.5 years, you're gonna continue growing the movement for a transition to do this 100% in 5.5 years. So, like, how do you plan to grow, and where do you see yourself in 5.5 years with this? Oh
man, 5.5 years. I mean, as right now, man, you know, because I'm a phase type of person, you know what I'm saying? So like the first phase, you know, this year is most definitely just continuing with marketing, you know, podcasts. I got 2 other podcasts kind of lined up. You know, and just really getting the message out. You know, for me, this is not a get rich type thing. Although the money is good, don't get me wrong. But you know, I'm more so passionate about getting the message out. You know what I'm saying, to guys, to everybody, man. You know, and again, just giving those roses. But most definitely, you know, continuing the segue of just putting this platform out there so that it's enjoyable for everybody. Got a few things lined up for Father's Day. You know, got a few things lined up for, you know, the Christmas holidays and things of that nature. So I got a lot of things that's kind of lined up. I just don't want to come out with everything like all of a sudden right here. You know, just being consistent, I think that's important. But the bigger picture is just continuing with the marketing and things of that nature to be consistent, you know, 5 years from now. Honestly, I don't know where this is going to go. You know, my son, he kind of enjoys it. So we do have like a small YouTube thing that we're trying to do. You know, obviously the kids are into YouTube, and that's something he kind of has an interest in, you know, so we kind of do our day-to-day interactions and actions, just the day in the life of the Black Father Experience. So like last week, we went to check out some natural caverns, you know, so I'm kind of in the process of editing that, and then we're going to throw that on the website as well. So what do I foresee? Man, I want him to take this over. You know, long picture, I want him to take this over, you know. I want him to see the positivity and what it is that we're doing, you know, whenever he may have kids or whatever the case may be. Generational wealth, all that, right? Kind of combined into one. But more so, I guess to answer your question, just more so, just this is something that I want him to kind of take on. Like you said earlier, continuing that legacy, you know. If I was to leave right here, right now, he can look back on some of these videos like, damn, my dad was, you know, really putting in work doing X, Y, Z, you know, so just continuing that legacy.
What would you say is your proudest moments with your kid or your business?
Proudest moments with my kid, man. So, you know, he lives with his mom. So I get him on the weekend and whatnot. So just the proudest moment is just spending that time with him, man. Like some little things, you know, like when I get off with you all, you know, we're going to go and dye some eggs, you know, for tomorrow. You know, it's just the little things, the little wins, you know, is what I'm more so focused on, because I don't have that Monday through Thursday time with him, you know. So, I mean, just the little wins, you know, spending that time with him. And just watching him develop as a young man. I mean, like I said, he'll be 10. You know, he's into music. He loves music. He has this little app on his phone where he's always constantly making music, and that's pretty cool. You know, I was in a band as well, but he likes to do the beats, you know, and I'm like, man, you can make some money out there. So like, that's kind of like my next thing. I want to kind of like really invest into like a beat machine for him. Just kind of see where he goes with it, you know. We tried the sports here and there, but of course, you know, with kids playing the games and stuff, they like being in the inside. But we're trying to see where this music thing goes, you know. So I would probably say that's probably one of the proudest moments too, just kind of seeing him develop as a little human being, you know, from a baby to now. Yeah, most definitely.
So yeah, going forward, so can we expect to hear some of his music pop up on the website pretty soon? So I go to the website and like the music that plays is from him.
Hey, that'd be dope, man. Like for real, that'd be dope.
Y'all prank each other too?
Me and my son?
Yeah. It's like almost just record me pranking my dad. It's like throw water in his face when he's sleeping.
Man. No, we don't really too much do pranks. We do have this thing though, Nerf Wars. That's pretty cool. He enjoys that, you know. Yeah. So we kind of, so that's pretty cool, man. I think a lot of the kids kind of enjoy that. But no, we don't ever do the pranks.
I stopped the Nerf game because I always felt like I'm gonna shoot someone in the eye. You just play with Yeah, man, this is dangerous. You look at it now, like this is dangerous for my kids. It's cool when I was growing up. Like, my kids know we ain't doing that.
I know you guys have like military training and experience. It's like if something happens while you're sleeping, you're like, what the hell? Survival mode.
Right. Medic down.
Right? So we got this group chat. Speaking of, is Jeremiah there with you now?
Mm-hmm.
So I put a picture inside the group chat, and he just responded in there like, that's nice.
What was it? I saw it pop up, but I didn't.
Yeah, he like when I was like going to say like the group chat and everything else, he just literally just put that in with a smiley face. And obviously, my baby brother has no kids, but my brother Ramon, you know, he has kids, and we try to always get together because once again, growing up, like I remember growing up, elementary school is up the street. Jarrett with the school right around the corner from my grandma's house. So my grandma's house is like the place to be. That's a hangout spot. So like,
right.
You know, you walk home, and then about I think it was like 4 o'clock, Dragon Ball Z would come on. That's
Yep.
Dragon Ball Z on Tsunami. But like I always said, like when I get to a certain point in my life, I want to go back and relive the kind of customs that our parents, so like especially like our grandparents, they instilled in us, which is family is a big thing. Like right now, like I see my aunts, they take care of my grandma, and I'm just like, yo, I hope when I'm there, like even when they take over there taking care, I'm like, when I'm there, I want that to be, and that's how you know, like you did right by your kids is when they want to pack up. But I also want my kids to have the same kind of childhood I did, which is I used to go spend a night at Jared's house, you know, like, you know, my cousin Brian, like we used to do that. And in a place where we all we went different directions, like where took us. So like me and my brothers are here, Jared's in Texas, you know, his brother and sister are up in Mississippi, right? But I do want to try to figure out a way to converge everyone back, because you can never beat the memories of like just going out and playing in the front yard, walking down to the candy lady's house, spending 50 cents and shoes. You know, those are moments that I think kids need to have, like us as parents need to also exhibit and show our kids, like, hey, this is how we grew up. Because in today's age, everything is in that digital spectrum. Like I was just looking at playtime on Nintendo Switch. I was like, he had 8 hours of playtime on his Switch one day. Like, you know, we work from home. I was like, we're so
that's a full work day.
Yeah, right. I'm like, he didn't even get paid. Like this Wi-Fi.
Like if he was running a lemonade stand, how much money could he have made?
Oh man, I know, right?
In this neighborhood I live in now, he probably could have made bank. So
yeah, it's like, hey man, I've stopped giving you allowances. Here's some lemons. Like that's it.
Figure out, like, I think that's the best thing too. Is like, how can you teach your kids to make that? Like Jared said, he wants to support JJ's like thought of doing music, because I'm like, oh, that's dope. And my son, he always has these crazy ideas, like, oh, I wish there were like vitamins for Minecraft. I'm like, oh, I don't have no vitamins for Minecraft. Then he comes out with like a whole laundry list of Minecraft. Like, how about we change the name? Like, we can build like our own version of Minecraft. We change the name, then we just go sell that because we're about to make bank. But just the way the kids kind of come out with these crazy ideas, but when you sit and think about it, that's actually a good idea. Like, can I still program TKS I volunteer for, and nothing but kids, innovators, and they're doing like, how can we solve world hunger at like 30 years old? And the ideas are like, man, I can't steal this idea because they're gonna know I stole it from these kids. But the kids have.
I mean, hey, what's the point of having kids if it's not to like do something to sell with them?
That's why you employ them all. Watch the video. And I think
oh man, Jarrett, Mario, the more you guys are talking about your kids, the more I'm like, I really want some right now, just like making money off of them. Or sorry, I mean building businesses with them.
There you go.
Be like Anthony. You said Anthony, he hired all his kids on.
Dude, Anthony Gatt, man, the first guy I did podcast with, he's an active Marine, teaches ROTC at UT Austin, has his own business, and his 11, 8, and 6-year-old are all helping him with his business, and he's just inspiring. And I asked him if he wanted to have more, and he said, my wife won't let me. I was like, well, you know, maybe we can create a business plan or a deck to pitch to the wife. But No, I think one of the things that I find most admirable, you guys are obviously great fathers. You guys are really invested in cultivating whatever your son's or daughter's interests are at a given time. I think my question is like, seeing them grow, what are you looking forward to? And is it like 10 years out? Like, what is it that you, I guess, down the line that you really, I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but like, what are you looking forward to, like, with your family and with the stuff that you guys are building?
I think for me, man, what I'm trying to focus on now is just, again, generational wealth. You know, my time is running short, in the military to my 20. So for me, I'm just focusing on just, finances more, investing a little bit more. Um, I created an account for my son when he was born, up until now, something that I want to give to him when he's like, I'm thinking 25, 30, when he's a little bit more mature and things of that nature. But just teaching him, the investment piece of it, with stocks and index funds and MTFs or ETFs and stuff like that. The things that I wasn't taught, or myself, probably Mario as well, we weren't taught. We had to learn a lot of this stuff through different people, through the military, or just, researching a lot of stuff on our own. I knew about none of that stuff until I got into the military, you know. And again, it just took experiences, I mean, I'll say when I was, young military, I was blowing money, just like everybody else, but you have to go through that phase, I think. But I think for me, it's just learn as much as I can so that I can give him the tools to be successful as well. That's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, I want him to be his own man, obviously making his own decisions and things of that nature. But it starts early in the foundation, you know. So when he gets a little bit older, maybe 12, I really want to kind of sit him down and let's talk about, saving your money. Yeah, you got this account, but that's my money until you get a certain age, and things of that nature. And I often try to do that now, when he gets his little birthday money and stuff like that, I keep his little wallet and I have him count his money out. How much money do you have? And of course, he's just like any other 9-year-old. Oh, I want to go to Walmart and buy some marbles. I'm like, hold up, bro. Like, do you really want to buy some marbles, or do you want to like continue to save this money? And why? And just helping him understand why it's important. So for me, man, I mean, to answer your question, just I just want to learn as much as I can. The things that I didn't learn growing up, so that I can provide it to him, so he can make the right decisions, for himself and his potential family.
It did go back to what you said earlier about just being present, maximizing the time you have with them now.
Yeah, most definitely. Yep.
I like the marbles. I'm like, I thought he could say no gun, but he said marbles, old school. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, man.
It's like marbles. Like, who buys that anymore?
Well, see, he has this fascination with marbles and like rocks. So when we went to the caves last week, they were selling these rocks, right? And they were like, some of them were unique rocks, some of them were standard rocks that you could probably find on the street. And they were like $3-4. I'm like, bro, do you really want to spend your money $3-4 on a rock that you can pick up on the street? I was like, if you're gonna do this, like get a unique rock. You know what I mean? Something that looks fancy.
Yeah.
So
I think another thing.
I think Mario was like judging you. Was like, damn, I didn't know you're that old.
Yeah, there were marbles. I remember marbles growing up about 20 years ago.
Man, whatever.
So one thing that he pointed out, and I say this a lot, like wherever I go in a lot of my speeches, is education. So knowledge is free, right? Like that's one thing that as a culture, you look at Black history as a culture, we pass down knowledge through our families, right? Like here, like the animal kingdom does the same thing. Like you look at how animals react in life, they learn from the previous generations. So generational wealth can mean thousands of things. Like in today's world, we talk money, but before that, there wasn't such thing as Black generational wealth. There was something as Black generational knowledge that you pass down. So one thing I always say is like, I want to make sure I know enough. Like that's why I'm so invested in technology, is because that's the way the world's going. If I can teach my kid how to fish, they would learn like to go out and fish. If I teach them technology, then they would go out there and be able, they don't need a 4-year degree. I don't have a 4-year degree. But, you know, like I said, my wife's like, I can go out there. If I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, I can go out there and interview for jobs starting at like $80,000 to $110,000 because of a skill. So I want to be able to pass down the knowledge to my kids more than anything. Like, yeah, I worry about money, but I'm like, the economy could crash, like, you know.
No, that's a good point. I think one thing I learned about this was in the context of startup communities is that there's 7 forms of capital. One, of course, is financial, but there's intellectual, there's people, and essentially you're building your own network. You're building all this intellectual capital, all these people that you're connected with, and you're passing this along to your sons and daughters. And money will come whenever.
Yep. So don't chase the money. Like, and that's one thing about it. It's like you can only teach your kids that. If they follow LeBron James is a very gifted person. They're not gonna see the work he put in, the work ethic behind LeBron James. They're just gonna see oh, he owns a team, sports team. LeBron James, I want to play basketball. But, you know, look at Shaq. He has a PhD now. You know, he's on every Gold Bond commercial up to date. Right? He's like investing in that. Steve Harvey invested his skill sets and working multiple jobs to pass down. So we have to find what's like realistic to pass down to our kids. Like, we can pass down money, but they don't know how to spend it or reinvest it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna blow that money. So we have to make sure that we pass down that knowledge first of how to utilize the tools we leave behind for our kids. So that's what I'm hoping for. I want time to slow down because I don't want them to grow up, because as they grow, that's another indicator that I'm getting older. So I'm like, let's slow down time and they need somebody to teach you, you know? So those are 2 things I look forward to, though, is like watching them grow, but being able to say, like, I'm not going to lift my kids, but I want to see them do
It's what they do with the stuff that you're providing with them. It's like, look, I know I'm spoiling you, but like what I hope with this is that you don't just stay at the same level as me.
Right.
I can see the Africa's a starving like community, and I'm like, I know what being hungry is like, but like for my kids, I try to use that line, and they're like, Africa, what's that? I'm like, I feel them like hear them all the stuff I do, because they look at me like, what is that? So, you know, I think as time slows down, we can create that appeal to keep our kids younger, just a tad bit longer. Hey, parents to be less stressful, because the older you get, you said he's about to turn 10, or he's already 10?
He's about to turn 10 in August.
Right? So like time flies. My son's 6. I'm like, man, like I was just looking at one of his baby pictures, when our first picture we took as a family for Christmas. I'm like, I missed that kid, the one that didn't talk, he couldn't move, he depended on me for everything, instead of this one that knows how to talk and want to talk back. And then I had to reestablish that alphaship. Like, hey, I'm head honcho here. You're just
what Jarrett and Mara as well is, you know, we kind of talked about what we're looking forward to, but you know, as an entrepreneur, as a father, you know, as someone who's also involved in community and trying to support everyone, I guess what worries you? Is there something that kind of keeps you up at night? Is it your business? Is it maybe how you're raising your son and daughter? Or
man, honestly, you know, nothing really keeps me up at night. I'll be honest. Like I say, I'm a go with the flow type of individual. There's no perfect day. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect life. You know, I like to think of myself as a realist. You know, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days. You know, but protecting your peace, your self-peace. You know, getting that rest that you need. I mean, a lot of things really don't keep me up at night. And a lot of people, sometimes they confuse that as me being like nonchalant, and it's not. It's just, I can only control what I can control. You know, so if I can't control X, Y, Z, like I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Like, oh, okay, well, I can't control that. And I just got to keep it moving. I can only control what I can control, you know, in my own little 360. So that's how I just look at things. That's how I look at life. You know, I'm big on peace protection, you know, protecting your peace. So, yeah, man, I mean, bottom line up front, that's just kind of like, that's just kind of how I look at, you know, trials, tribulations, life, you know?
For sure. I worry about just my kids growing up in this America that doesn't, that has opinions about people that are different than them. So like I've experienced my fair share, like, you know, I do a lot of talk with politicians. I do a lot of talk with like just everybody in general nowadays. I literally stepped way outside the box from my comfort zone. So I love the safety net of the Black community to immerse myself to make change in other communities. And because of that, I've been exposed to being treated differently because of the color of my skin or because of my age. It's not always color of my skin. I've been looked over things because I'm young too. Like, who's this young guy trying to tell us ABC? I'm like, you're saying your old ways, which don't work for this day and age. So then I look at like how my kids grow up. I'm like, I won't be able to protect them past a certain point. Actually, you know, once they start going to school and they are in my hands for 6 hours a day, I can't protect them if I'm no longer there. About how the world will view them. Like, I'm not worried about my kids. I'm worried about the people that's around them. Things out of my control because, you know, people, like, especially with what's been happening the last 2 years, you know, it's crazy. And I brought kids into this world in hopes that the world will eventually change from what it was, 70 years ago. People always say slavery ended 400 years ago. I'm like, no, it ended 150 years ago because slavery was abolished on a piece of paper then, but slavery didn't end until about 150 years ago. So I'm like, America hasn't changed that much because of what's been written until people understand like we are all humans and we go into this more human-centric area where we just judge people for being people and what they know and how they act on their actions. You're never truly, be able to say our kids are always safe because like racism is still a thing. Like, people always judge my kids because of the color of their skin. But I'm like, I also have to remember the people that's judging them, they aren't from this country either. So we should really look and try to figure out how to ensure we're raising our kids in the right values, which is what I'm hoping. It's like my kids don't see skin color; they see how people act, how their manners are. That kind of thing is moving.
As we're coming close to an hour, Jarrett, I have a few questions left. I definitely want to ask you. One is,
okay.
What do you hope people get out of aligning with your movement, which is a Black father experience? Like, if there's something that you want people to know about your business and what you're trying to do, what would that be?
Yeah, man, going back to what I alluded to earlier, man, again, it's just, I'm not saying, and I say this all the time, I'm not saying that we're better father figures, just more so just giving the positivity, shedding that positive light, because like Mario said, there's always that negative stigma within the community of people that look like me that, we're not there and things of that nature. So for me, man, it's to continue to show that positive light, not only for, fathers, but the coaches and mentors, the uncles. Back in the 80s, man, they said that little slogan, "It takes a village to raise a kid," right? I'm a true believer of that. It takes everybody in that circle to potentially raise that kid, man. Because everybody, again, like Mario said, they don't have that physical connection with their father, whatever the case may be. But you have people outside of your home that can give you positive nuggets and likes and things of that nature. And I tell people all the time, this is a movement for everybody. Again, you may not look like me, but you still gonna have that Black father experience. And I just want to show the positive light, man. That's all. This is what, I just happen to be a Black man in America that happens to be a father. That's what I can relate to. I had one guy tell me one time, he was like, well, why does it have to always be about race? I mean, but this is America, right? It's always been about race. But my focus is not just saying, again, that we are better communities or better fathers, man. This is just to showcase the positive light of people that look like me, giving them their roses while they're here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just want everybody to take the positive light away from what it is that I'm trying to do, man. I feel like the big man put this on my heart to do, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm, the pride and passion that comes with it, that's really the gist of it behind it. That's what I want everybody to get out, man. Just the positive
I think
light.
that's great because, like, kind of to what Mario alluded earlier, when he was a kid and saw you join the military, someone he knew, someone that looks like him, doing something that he found very inspiring and kind of led him to also pursue a similar path. And, similarly, it's like when you see someone that looks like you that is actually human, because
Right,
like
right.
you hear stories all the time, and you're like, I mean, hell, this could be a bot that's doing all these things. Like, I don't know who this person is. But you're showing your personality. And I think that's important because, the community in America is diverse. By showing people that there's someone that looks like you as well, just makes you feel good. My last question that I always ask everyone is, Jarrett, for you yourself, what are the types of people that you would like to get in touch with? But let's start with what are the types of people, why should people get in touch with you?
Why should people get in touch with me? So we're talking about just broad, anybody?
Yeah, it's like if someone was interested in getting in touch with you, why would they want to reach out to you? And then lastly, like what type of people would you like to get connected with?
I think we all share different experiences, you know. So meeting new people, you learn who they are, where they're from, what makes them tick. And again, that just kind of goes back to that networking. You know, I think networking is big in the military. They teach us networking all the time because you never know if you need to utilize, you know, person A or person B in the near future. You know, so I'm a big believer of never burning your bridges. You know, so the more people that I meet, you know, again, that's that networking. When I talk to different individuals, you know, I give them, you know, me, who I am, you know. Everybody has different opinions, you know, and opinions are valuable. But most definitely, you know, just understanding people in general, you know, and knowing who they are and understanding their experiences, you know.
Okay. And are there certain types of people that you like to meet right now that could be probably helpful to your business or some of your goals or what you like to do?
You know, I wouldn't just say I want to meet a particular type of person. Okay. You know what I mean? Because you never know what somebody has in value that could be value to you. You know, so the more people that you meet, you network with, you take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of that, you use what you can. So I would say, you know, any and everybody is somebody that I would want to meet. You know, don't never sell yourself short, you know.
I got one question for you, Jarrett, and this is adding on to YJ. I just want to start throwing things onto his questions. But how can I, like, if I had no clue of what you're doing, how could someone new get into the movement? Like, how can I learn more about the movement? How can I become more involved? You know, how can I start like shedding the movement here where I'm located at?
Hashtag the movement starts with you, right? So most definitely continuing the marketing piece. You get wind of my business and what it is, the message behind it. You know, people always ask me, well, how can I support? Well, you know, you buy some merch, or you don't even have to buy any merch. You know, if you like what you see, hey, like, share, subscribe, you know, things of that nature, right? Go to the website, theblackfatherexperience.com. See the blurbs that I had out there. The Black Father Experience _LLC is my Instagram. You know, go out there and see the things that we're doing, other fathers are doing that look like me, and individuals that don't look like me, you know. So, you know, it really comes down to just overall just supporting, you know. And how do you support? Well, the movement, it really starts with you, you know. So again, if you like the things that I'm doing that you see, you know, the movement starts with you. Support, you know, get it out there. So that one person is going to talk to two people, that two people is going to talk to 6 people, so on and so forth, right? And the movement just continues, you know. So currently right now, I have merchandise in DC from friends and families. I got a friend of mine in Iowa. He bought 2 shirts as well. Kansas, California. So there's, you know, the movement is here and there throughout the US, right? I had 2 sales over in Europe, you know, so international wise, right? So it just really comes down to, you know, the message just slowly getting out there. You know, did I expect it to just go like that? Absolutely not. You know, I'm just taking my time with it. You know, that one person, that 2 people, that 6 people that I get in contact with, or that other person gets in contact with, hey, the movement continues.
Pandemic.
Well, thank you guys for like just chatting. This was really fun. Got a drink. Can't wait to start raising kids. I mean, some of the things that you guys talk about, just being present, being consistent, investing in your children's interests, and you know, just all the things that you accumulated, kind of seeing how they grow, which is really inspiring. And then especially with them helping you with your business, I think that's my biggest takeaway. It's like how much stuff that they can help you with. So it was a pleasure meeting you, Jarrett. Mario, thank you again for an introduction. And I can't wait to catch up again in a year and see how this movement grows since then.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Most definitely. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Well, y'all have a great weekend, guys. Bye.